Hello everyone, Simon Bard here, and welcome to my work in progress background for a new movie review. There was a time when superhero movies weren't such a big deal. Granted, the earlier ones in the 70s and 80s were hits when they came out, but then dwindled with many people in the mid to late 90s seeing them as the worst, but then made a comeback in the early 2000s with a couple of misses. But it's during that time when Pixar released a movie that's not only about superheroes, but has also changed the studio in many ways. And just in time for the sequel coming out this weekend, it's only fair to celebrate its release by reviewing the one that started it all. It's the Pixar film that I'd say is my favorite of the ones they did. The Incredibles. In a time of superheroes, one hero, named Mr. Incredible, has been saving the day in every corner. But after marrying a superheroine named Elastigirl, Mr. Incredible gets sued by a man who didn't want to be saved as he was committing suicide, followed by another suing from passengers of an L train that Mr. Incredible also saved. Yet, around that time, superheroes everywhere were being sued for causing damage and costing cities millions. Thus, the heroes were forced to retreat as their secret identity, and their days of superhero duties were over. So Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, under their secret identities as Bob and Helen Parr, live an ordinary life raising 3 kids, a young boy named Dash, a teenage girl named Violet, and a baby boy named Jack. But Bob misses the glory days of being a superhero, and would secretly go out with his friend Lucius Best, aka Frozone, to listen in on police radios to help save people and stop crimes. Soon, Bob gets fired from his real-life job, and is given a video message from Mirage, a woman who works for a secret organization that gives superheroes a second chance, and Bob accepts it. And he soon lives a happy life, secretly fighting robots called Omnidroids on a secret island base, getting back into shape, and pleasing his family. But when he's brought back to the island, Bob meets his foe named Syndrome, who was originally Buddy Pine back in the day when he worshipped Mr. Incredible, but then turned against him when Bob originally refuses to be partners with him. Yet Bob escapes him, only to discover Syndrome's secret plan, and Helen tries to rescue Bob, despite Dash and Violet tagging along. There are a few reasons why I say this is my favorite Pixar film, and I don't have any problems with it. There's a lot of firsts for this movie. It's the first Pixar film to receive a PG rating, it's the first Pixar film to have human characters throughout, it's the first Pixar film to feature music from Michael Giacchino, it's the first Pixar film to be written and directed by Brad Bird, who had done The Iron Giant, Family Dog, and some episodes of The Simpsons, and this is the first superhero movie to deal with a real super family, and also tackle stuff that other superhero films at the time didn't seem to do. Technically, it's one of Pixar's biggest achievements. The amount of time and effort given to this is very outstanding, with all the clothes, the hair, the water, the explosions, everything. Every character looks great and every background looks amazing. Also, the yellow droid would sometimes move like stop motion, and whatever happened to Bon Voyage, the first villain Mr. Incredible met? Where did he go after the supers went hiding? That needed to be brought up. And there are plenty of fun moments thrown around. Helen sneaking through the villain's base, Dash running away from the henchmen, the final battle, and the funniest moment for me is with Bob in his car, which got me laughing throughout. There are certainly a lot of nods in the film too. The look of the family's home and style of music definitely have a 60s vibe, and it's rather nice to admire. Not to mention that the actor voicing Bob is a father living with a wife and 3 kids in suburbia, similar to his father character in Poltergeist. Edna Mode, or E, is not just a costume designer for superheroes, but is also modeled after costume designer Edith Head. Mirage and the Island Base are likely nods to the James Bond films. And near the end of the film, there's cameos of Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson, 2 of Disney's hand-drawn animators who were part of the 9 Old Men from the 40s to the 70s. And they're also voiced as themselves. Unfortunately, Frank passed away during the film's post-production. Then Ollie passed away 4 years later. And both shall be dearly missed. And the actors voicing the characters did a very good job. Craig T. Nelson voices Mr. Incredible / Bob Parr, Holly Hunter voices Elastigirl / Helen Parr, Samuel L. Jackson voices Frozone / Lucius Best, Jason Lee voices Buddy Pine / Syndrome, Spencer Fox voices Dashiell - Parr, Sarah Vowell voices Violet Parr, Elizabeth Pena voices Mirage, Bud Lucky voices Rick Dicker, Wallace Shawn voices Gilbert Humph, Lou Romano voices Bernie Crope, John Ratzenberger voices the Underminer, and Brad Bird voices Edna E. Mode. As a whole, this movie is fun. The characters are great, the story is very good, and the animation is spectacular. Director Brad Bird had done a marvelous job of making a superhero movie for Pixar before the whole superhero movie became a huge deal. And now with there being so many of them, as well as this film sequel coming out, I really had more fun with this movie than I did before. It presents a lot of first times for a Pixar film, and has a likable charm to it. It's not overly complex and doesn't go too silly or too dark. In many respects, I say this is my favorite Pixar film, as it did accomplish a lot of things, and does them all very well. But no matter how the sequel turns out, I will still love the first film for what it is, and how it changed Pixar, for better or worse. So today, this movie will get a rating of 4 stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and tune in next time for a new video.